Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Boy, I'm like completely off center here.
I'm
Maggie.
sorry.
I'm a mess
You're
over
tight.
here.
You're tight.
It's not your
Straighten
fault.
your
There
tie.
now, Eddie. It could be Eddie's fault. Well, the tie. If I try to pull it this way, I think I'm pulling it the other way. I've
Let's.
been on TV for
How about
25
just
years, and I
straight,
haven't quite.
Andy, how about
I'm
straight?
a mess here. What do you want from me?
It's Sunday. I told you could go at casual Sunday. No
I know.
tie.
I wasn't going to put the tie on.
I do
but
like that shirt. That's one of my favorite
Thank you.
shirts. of yours.
Thank you. I like this
Yeah.
shirt too.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I wore it just for you.
Thanks.
I'll think about that. I'll only wear it.
Yeah. Oh,
Now
Maggie,
on when we're
sure.
on Talking Horses together. Anyway, we've got 8 races today, and we've accelerated post times. I think the last post time's a little after 3:40.
Yeah.
We are expecting, I think, 4 to 5 inches of snow
Yeah.
later today.
Sledding day tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
I like
the girls.
sledding. Nice. Where do you go?
There's not many hills on Long Island.
Really?
There's a forest that has like paths that are quite steep, so we go there.
Okay. We used to sled in Congress Park.
Oh,
You know,
cool.
you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
in
yeah.
right, above where
Great
Union
sledding.
Avenue goes. You know,
Yeah,
you go down the
sure.
big hill there, and
That's
there
a
was
huge
one on the
hill.
side. Yeah, I used to go there as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sledding's great.
Good. I
All
know I
right.
love sledding.
Yeah. All right. Head over to Naira Bets. Do some sledding over to Naira Bets. Bonus 200. I just realized, Eddie, we didn't go over the slates, but don't worry. Just roll them, and I'll roll with the punches here. Bonus 200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. Track stats. I assume that's coming next. Surprise
on
me,
it.
Eddie. Keep us on our heels, on our toes
Ooh.
here. What's going on here?
Hit and split.
$2,500 hit and split for the late Big Forward Aqueduct. That'll be races 5 through 8 of our 8-race card today. Cross Country Big 5. Races 6, 7, 8 at Oaklawn, 7, 8 at Aqueduct. And tune in from 3 to 6 on FS1 today. I think that the biggest discussion, probably the biggest discussion to have in the show, period, is the racetrack. Because it's unusual to get a track that's so tilted towards speed. You can get ones that have a gold rail or a dead rail, but I mean, I don't think it was the rail yesterday. I think the rail was good. We saw the one rallied up, and we
Right,
saw
the-
plenty of horses trying to rally. The inside did nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, speed was as strong. It was just impossible to close.
I know, and I wonder if the kind of not heavy rain that we had, but consistent rain, which they left the track open, rightfully so, because it was never that
Right.
heavy, but it made the track heavy, and I think that's tough for horses to run
The
through.
kickback running through it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it was odd, and now I don't know if it'll be different today. No idea, but I think going into this card, you've got to be
Cognizant of it,
prepared.
yeah.
You've got to be using speeds, and you'll see a couple of races, and I mean, a couple of races don't make a bias one way or the other, but it was pretty clear even early in the day that there seemed to be something going on with the track.
Right.
You didn't want to I mean the racing was at a lower level, and you sometimes wonder in some of those races how competitive they are, and you have to be careful. But as the day progressed, it just became very, very obvious.
Yeah, and two, what happens today with the impending weather? It's supposed to maybe kick off around 1 with some snow. Granted, snow often doesn't change the
You're
track that
psyched. You're
much.
ready for the.
I-
You're
You
excited.
know what? If it's going to be this cold, we better have snow.
Yeah,
That's how I view winter.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Though it's actually been kind of warm the last couple of days.
It's been okay, yeah.
We'll start out in race number 1. And speaking of cold as hell, it's going to be cold as hell on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday,
right?
Wednesday, Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it gets a little warmer
Little
on
warmer.
Thursday, but I
Yeah.
thought it's in the teens on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I have to go out, which is too bad. I just like to stay in my apartment for a couple of days. Anyway,
Wouldn't we all?
we'll take a look at Cold as Hell and Dangerous Ride. He's going to be the speed. I imagine Magnolia Midnight, the one half. Dangerous Ride, the half of the
Yeah.
entry that's running. Right. Sorry, for some reason I didn't put the scratches in my paper. I don't know
That's
why.
okay. The 2 MMs are
Yeah.
out.
Well, they're both entered on Thursday, I think,
Right.
or Friday,
Yeah.
or whatever. They're entered later this week, so I'm not surprised. Horse has been in good form. Why am I supposed to take a big chance against this horse?
I totally agree. And now, it's kind of simplified for Jose Lascano. Just go from that rail position and try to hold that position. Because, like you said, Magnolia Midnight coming out, which he was kind of a little bit of a question mark speed, turning back
Yep.
in distance. We'll see how much pressure Dangerous Ride does apply. He was sent awfully hard to contest that pace last time, and Cold as Hell still outfinished him.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, and not this is going to change things, but Asin Savachi, who's riding Dangerous
Such a
Ride,
good-
boy, is he impressed people here
Yeah.
since he came here. He's a really, really good rider.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Very smart. Seizes that sees his opportunities and advantages that he sees with the racetrack. I've noticed. No, he's very good.
It's unusual. There are always riders that come in the winter. I don't think I've been impressed with a rider that's come in the winter as much as him. I mean, I go back a long time. I remember when Mike Luzzi and Edgar Prado came together.
Yeah.
And Luz stayed
Maryland,
here, and Edgar went back to Maryland and came back a few years later when Richie got injured. But I'm very impressed by him. I was talking to David Aragona, who likes Backside Buzz in this race, and he was reading in his rundowns. And if you don't check out his stuff on which he puts on the NYRA website. And by the way, the new NYRA website's great.
Yeah.
Really easy to use. A lot of good
Very
information. If you haven't checked it out, it's really did a good job with that.
Yeah.
It hurts me. I like to give him a hard time, but it really is good. Dave was talking about the kind of numbers that Michael Catalano has put up in New York over the last few years.
I
and
respect
they're pretty
him.
strong. He's
I
good.
do respect him, and the problem is I feel like he's almost that horse that needs to have the lead. Now, he's drawn well outside
But he's
of
not
Cold as
faster
Hell,
than
but
other
he's
horses
not
here.
faster. Right, exactly. And once he didn't get the lead, he threw in the towel last time. Now you could make the argument maybe facing, even though this is still that 32, maybe they were a little bit better. With Commerce Comet
Maybe.
and Natural Harbor and Secret Rules.
Cold as Hell has been good for a long time.
Right. He's been consistent. I obviously have him second. You have him second. I'm not against him here. I just thought Cold as Hell had the a better tactical
I agree,
advantage.
but I'm going to use both of these
Yeah.
horses in this race. In the pick 5, race number 2, Eddie Barker's horse Scratch, and it's kind of a big scratch in this race because doesn't it kind of help a horse like Jake Rocks? Whereas Jake Rocks can now be the controlling speed over Coffray in here without the number 5 in the race. So I think it does kind of change the dynamics. Whether you like Return of the King or not, I think it helps a horse like Jake Rocks, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Look, Jake Rocks is Jake Rocks. He's a horse that he's tough to endorse. I like the fact that he almost was starting to feel like this horse that only kind of ran well for Rob Atras.
Yep.
So it was encouraging to see him run well for, although well beaten, but at least a decent figure.
Well,
last time
that
out for
race by
Michelle
Quick
Nevin, but-
Hammer, he could have won the Breeders' Cup Sprint with the race, and he ran that day.
Yeah, where did it come from? Type
insane.
of thing. So
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, it does help Jake Rocks. I just have a personal, not vendetta, but kind of a angst against him.
Yeah, I don't love him either. We both picked the number 7, Charging Arrow. Why don't you talk about him?
A Charging Arrow making his first start for Michelle Giangiulio, I think comes out, this is for 15. You see the race he comes out of, including Cold as Hell. Wow, the desk is falling apart here. He kind of got squeezed back last time.
Used his desk a long time.
We have been. And just Michelle does a great job overall. Now, he's a horse that can be forward. So it's up
I
to
agree.
Christopher Elliott to get him out of the gate. He didn't have that much speed last time, but
That's a bit of a concern. But he
Right.
was 30-1 last time and running against better horses.
Exactly.
He's going to have to find a way to at least be in a good stalking position,
And
and that concerns me a little bit.
I agree, but I like the way that Christopher Elliott's been riding. He
I agree.
kind of understands his horses much better now than what he did when he first started out, and I think he's putting them and giving them every chance. I'm going with the ex Tom Morley assistants exacta here.
Who's the assistant?
Michelle.
Oh, Michelle. Oh, you're
Giangiulio
saying.
and Juan Bernardini.
Oh, okay. I got you. Let's take a look at, speaking of Juan Bernardini, Super Chief. And here, the problem with Super Chief is
His lack of
relative
pace.
lack of speed. That's
Right.
what concerns me about him.
I did
but he could
appreciate though
win.
because Kendrick, by the turn, Kendrick was moving this horse into contention. So I don't think he's totally devoid of speed. And I thought he ran well. You could look at this the opposite way of did he hang a little bit here with Cold as Hell? I just think Cold as Hell is a better horse. And he was 3-2 on this day.
I agree with you. I agree. He's been in good form. He's held his form. And I definitely think that he's a player in here. I was going to have him second, but I changed my picks a little bit with the way the
With
track
track,
is playing.
right.
And then I think you have to respect Coffray a little bit. We'll take a look at him beating Honorary Degree. Now, Honorary Degree has been claimed back by Eduardo Jones, and he had really gotten into very good form in his 2 races for Rob Atras. And you do kind of worry, but he is coming back 17 days. It's the old coming back a little bit in the training. But as far as Coffray, I just don't think he's getting the lead in this race from Jake
No,
Rocks.
he's not. And I feel like he's a horse that kind of needs it
I
to do
agree.
his best running. So with the turn back, now he is a horse that way back when, has won at 6 furlongs. There was a time in this horse's career that he was fast enough to be fast enough to get towards the front end.
But I wonder if he has the same amount of speed now.
Exactly.
But he figures to be forward. It's not like he can't win. I
Right.
just kind of went a little bit against him and went to other places in here, and I included Barry Funny. I don't really like
I
him,
found
but
a
I can't.
negative stat here with Bill Morey.
Okay, go ahead.
I
just
and
feel like
it's
he wins
weird when
nonstop.
you put in the surface. So first
Well, because
off
he
the
wins a lot of
claim-
races on synthetic.
and turf.
Yeah.
So right, exactly. So first off the claim, winning their last start on the dirt, he's 2 for 14 with a 58-cent ROI.
All right, there
That's
you go. I don't
fabulous.
really like him. I just put him
And
forth
two,
because of Bill.
they're I totally respect anything Bill Morey sends out,
Horses
but
won.
just getting through that non-3 life condition, that's always a little tougher.
I agree. It's pretty amazing that he won 2 races straight. Did you see who won at Oaklawn yesterday? Speaking of horses, never win? Refuah.
Refuah.
The funniest part about Refuah winning yesterday at Oaklawn was if
cracking
they
up.
put on the conversation that took place between Richie, Greg, and I when they were going the gate after we went off, we
Yeah.
went off camera.
Yeah.
We were all talking about how he never wins.
I
He's
never
a loser.
wins.
Now he can't win.
Who did he
They-
win for yesterday?
I don't even.
It wasn't.
Oh no, Ken Sweezy.
It was still Kent.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
Ken
all
Sweezy.
right.
I think it was Ken
Because he'd
Sweezy.
run well here for Kent, but typical Refuah style,
Destroyed
finishing
the
second
field.
and
He
third.
didn't hang at all. He
He was
blew
what
by
by
and buried
3?
him. Yeah, he killed
Yeah.
him. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty funny seeing him win. Race number 3, a big scratch with Beta Go-Go coming out in here, and I liked Cam Duke when he was scratched last week. I mean,
Jeez.
now with the lack of speed, he's just going to be as loose as can be, and even on a fair racetrack, isn't he going to be tough to beat?
Yeah, we're totally on the agreeing horses angle today.
Well,
I know it's that kind of racing, and we've seen some, pretty significant scratches. And
Yep.
Cam Duke, I thought he was against the racetrack the entire way last time.
I agree. He was
He was
against the
3
racetrack. He
wide
was
the
chasing
whole
outside and against
way.
the gold rail.
Yep. So I just could not come. I wanted to sneak Alpha Sunny in. But
Really?
Well, the race that he ran in this condition, 2 back, he was second behind Gate to Wire, favored winner JD Factor. We saw the 5th place finisher come back and win. The
Third place
third
finisher
place
won, too.
finisher came back and win. And
He was way over his head last time. He obviously had
way
no
over his
chance.
head, but I just thought back to this level, maybe he could, make an impact, but it's only that one race. And I just thought with Cam Duke, maybe you use somebody like him underneath, though. Room or rum pressure? What are you going with?
I've got the 4 Concours Spirit second for A. DeLoro. I thought cutting back from a mile
Oh,
might
yeah.
help him a little bit.
I agree.
On the other hand, he needs a more fair racetrack, but I thought maybe a mile was a little too far for him.
Yep.
And cutting back, I don't really have a big problem with the 7 run pressure. And Paul Barrow is one of these guys that can come from Finger Lakes and win races here. We've seen
He's
it in
one of
the
my
past.
favorite Finger Lakes guys.
No, he's
His
he's
horses
good.
look excellent every time they're brought over to the paddock. On top of that, he's a really nice guy. So I'm always intrigued by what we see. And last time, we saw Warstride and Stars and Stones just kind of 1-2 around the racetrack. He did, linger on his inside lead for a while in that last race. He doesn't have a habit of it, but he also takes a lot of strong riding to switch him over. Hopefully Sophia Vivez can do that, because he did find a little bit more once he switched leads.
And he's supposed to be forward here, and we've seen Sophia be aggressive. I'm
Yeah.
impressed by her. I think she's a good
Yeah.
rider.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
no,
agree.
I think she rides very, very
Yep.
well here. We've got quite a few women riding here now. Carol Cedeno had mounts this week, so we've got
Yep.
Katie, we've
Ned.
got Maddie Oliver, we've
Ned,
got Sophia,
yeah.
we've got who else? It's at least 4, right?
Yeah, Katie. Jackie comes too.
Jackie comes 5.
Yeah,
It's got to be the most women riders ever riding here at any time.
I think you're right.
We should do a story on that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm down.
Okay, I agree. Race number 4, we'll break after race number 4. And, well, this race was affected by scratches a great deal, especially with Busted Bay coming out in here. And you knew that one half of the entry would come out for Jamie Ness. Now, we'll show Pistol Liz ablazing.
Did you prefer Principia?
Of
to-
the 2?
yeah.
No, I actually preferred the 1A.
Okay.
I know the one had more speed.
Yeah.
And the problem with this horse right now is that she has no speed.
None.
And I don't know that we're dealing with yesterday's track. And biases don't usually stick around for long around here. We've done a good job in the past of getting tracks fair after a bias, but you have to be aware of it. And if we have yesterday's track, I don't know how this horse could possibly win.
Which greatest stake did she run in once upon a time? Do you remember?
Pistol Liz Ablazin?
Yeah. In Saratoga.
Honorable miss.
Nope.
Spinaway.
Nope. It's going long.
The Chuvy. Really?
Yeah.
Who did she run against?
Nest. It's a 4-horse
She
field.
ran against Nest in the Chuvy?
Yeah.
So that was when she beat Clairiere, when Nest beat Clairiere, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was Nest's one win as a 4-year-old. That
Yeah.
was the last win she ever had, actually.
Yep.
Wow, she was in there. Amazing.
Yep.
Who had her then?
Butch Reed.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him as this much this winter. Has he run? He
No,
hasn't run
he
horses since he
hasn't
won
won
the
as
stake here
many.
about a month or something. He won like the Gravesend, I think. in the
Right.
Slop. He
Mischief.
beat
What's that
Michelle's
horse?
horse,
Yes.
Full Moon Madness.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
this race to me is just a complete mishmash. I'm
I
guessing you're going
know.
to try to wire the field with spring music.
Yeah, but do I feel that confident? I mean,
You're going to be
because
confident in anybody in this race?
No, I mean Vegas weekend could be. I just took the 2 horses that were going to be.
I
Forward.
took Vegas Weekends. I thought she'd be stalking her, and that's why I put her on top, because I kind of preferred her of the two, and Antonio Arriaga's horse have been running. But
And she did have trouble in her last start. I mean, she for whatever reason, whatever she was cut off or what have you around the turn, she lost all position, and then once she got outside, she was able to re-rally again.
but that was a bad field.
That was a
last
bad
time.
field. It's not like Antonio has the greatest numbers with quick turnarounds. This is 7 days, 1 for 11.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled by anybody in here, to be honest.
No.
I guess, I mean, Spring Magic, I don't think you can ignore. The horse was claimed between Potts, but it's also Sandy Goldfarb. And Sandy's
Right.
horses off the claim have been running for a long, long time. So I think you have to regard her as the potential speed. But I also think she's an Arctic Queen, is another horse that can be forward in this race, and at least she can be close. And I mean, she's dropping substantially here. She fits very, very well in this race.
Yeah, but she did once upon a time run for 8.
No,
not
I know,
3.
She has cheaper back, but her recent
Yeah.
form's okay.
Yeah.
I don't love her. I mean, I don't. Who are you supposed to really like in this race?
Nobody with the scratches.
Right. I don't want the 1A because she has a lack of speed, and any of the 3, 4, and 5. I mean, originally I was very interested in Halo City in this race, and if
If
this
it was
track,
a fair track.
if this track is fair, I'm going to be interested in looking at her because she's finally going a mile. I don't know if she can run at all anymore. That's obviously the problem, though her last race wasn't totally atrocious. I'm just a little worried that she's a
I know she's
total
5
shell
for
of her
49
former self.
with
I know.
10 seconds, 10 thirds.
I know. Well, she's a deep closer is part of
mean,
the problem.
God bless her.
but-
She's made nearly 460,000 the hard way.
She's a pretty nice horse. I mean, at one time
Yeah.
she was okay. I know. But there's no way I can pick her on this racetrack. And
Right.
like I said, if the track is different, I'd be willing to use her in this race. But she's a little bit of a stretch, even in that situation. And she's got to get a fair racetrack. She cannot.
I know.
She cannot possibly win on
Yeah.
yesterday's racetrack.
No.
We'll take a break. We'll be back for the late pick 4 in a few moments.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses, Maggie and Andy. I liked Pocket Queens because I will take a look at. Do we have a video for this? No, we have a video for.
Who? What?
Can we
Lynn?
not show Rodeo Star? Can we just get rid of that video? Nobody has the
Yeah,
horse anywhere in there.
nah.
I send these videos often before I've done all the work, and it was a struggle to find videos for today's card. By the way, a struggle.
I can, thank you for doing the videos. Because as I'm going through this card, I'm like,
It was a tough. I think Thursday, I think I sent one video for the first 4 races. There was just no videos to send whatsoever. And sometimes I put in videos because there's not really much to show. I just feel like Pocket Queens is supposed to be the speed, and Eric's supposed to put her in front. She ran well in her one dirt race, and I know she's supermoto. And I mean, I agree with you. It's kind of. I mean, Is
But
Preferred
isn't
Pal really
Sills-
going to be 6-1 in here?
I
she
hope
gonna-
so.
Isn't she the clear second choice?
I mean,
Why is
it
Sills
okay?
Pleasure a shorter price?
Well, isn't Sills Pleasure supposed to be the speed? I know you just said Pocket Queens is.
The Time
but
Form Pace Projector has Pocket Queens in top.
I
on top.
know, but Sills Pleasure's stretching out.
I
with
agree.
blinkers
From
on.
6, she's supposed to be in front. That's a good point. But boy, I didn't.
And
really
that was
like
a
her at all.
22. Yeah,
That was a terrible,
It was
terrible
terrible.
race.
I agree with you.
4-horse field.
I just didn't. I mean,
I thought it was. I thought the 4 or 5. If the 4 or 5 don't win this race, I'm out.
Well, exactly.
I guess the 1 is not impossible. She did
She's
run
not,
a
but she's a
50
deep
buyer,
closer,
but she
and
has
if
no
I mean,
speed,
she's a
right.
confirmed deep closer. So I just.
4 doesn't have much speed either. Lane's got to try to get her.
Well,
she does have blinkers
she's
on.
Stretching out. And she's got
She has blinkers on,
with
yeah.
Lasix. I think she's going to be more forward. That's why I put her on top. I'm hoping for a better price because you know that they're just going to gravitate to Pocket Queens in here.
Right, she's going to be very short. She could be even
Yeah,
money in this race.
and
It
she
wouldn't
was
be
a little
surprising.
bit against the racetrack in her last start. Not a lot, just a little.
Yep.
Chasing wide, but yeah. I know this was.
I have
was a
nothing
tough
clever to say
one.
here, but I'm going to use 4s and 5s in this race.
I think that's
So.
a smart way to go.
See what happens in race 5. Thank you. Race number 6, a 1.25 miles, a little bit more interesting. And I think, as we look at Greener Pastures winning last time, and I left winning on weekends in because he ran so badly here. Now, he did spend an awful long time right
thought-
on the rail.
This was not Ruben Silvera's best performance. It was so indecisive.
Yep.
It was, do I go forward? Do I not go forward? I don't want to be here, but I got to go here. Blah, blah, blah. And it was like, this horse was like, do you want me to go, man, or not? And then he was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm done. And like you said, he was down on the rail.
Even though he
and-
got off the stretch, he spent 75 to 80% of the race right on the rail,
Exactly.
which may have just worn him out, as you're alluding to.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I mean, he does have races that kind of
The
tower over these
three-back
horses,
race.
and you know he can get the distance.
Exactly.
But you have to be a little worried about last time.
I changed my order of those top 3 horses 3 times in this race. At one point, I had
Really?
winning on weekends on top. I
I was 3s and 8s, and honestly, I was thinking of putting the 3 on top, but then with yesterday's track, and I was on a coin flip, if you look, I sort of had the arrow of I'm going to pick one of these 2 horses.
Yeah.
And then I thought with yesterday's track, how can I not put Valenzen Day on top? We'll take
Well,
a look
exactly.
at Valenzen Day beating Cumberland Blues, and we love Grateful Dead horses. And I mean, I just think the situation where he's supposed to be put in front and wire the field. So I'm going to hope that Eric is just aggressive and goes to the lead in this race, and
Linda's
that gives him
claim-
the edge over the 3. I don't really want anybody else. So I guess Greener Pastures could win.
Linda's claimed this horse back 4 times. Isn't that crazy?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. He got in good form. He got away from her. No, it's kind of true.
Oh, well, okay.
What? He was winning. He was winning for Michelle. I mean, Michelle's the one who got his form back together, right?
Resurrected
I mean,
him.
to
He
be
got
fair.
that voided claim
Yeah.
for 12.5, and,
But then
yeah.
she ran back for 12.5 and
Right,
galloped, and that's why
galloped
these
and
voided claims are annoying to me.
16, yeah.
I mean, I guess Greener Pastures can win. And I think with Jamie Ness, you have to separate, to me, his stats here between his claimers and non-claimers. He's had very little success with his claimers here and done very well overall. Not great, not Jamie Ness type numbers, but he's done well here with his non-claimers. And obviously, Greener Pastures can win this race.
Well, how do you, yeah,
What?
okay. I was going to say, how do you kind of qualify this race as a claimer or anyway?
Well,
it
he's on
doesn't
for a
matter.
tag.
He's
oh,
on
I
for a
see you're
tag.
saying.
Right.
How is it judged? Is it judged?
Judged
I don't know.
As of, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. And you know what? Oh, this doesn't apply to this horse. Never mind. Because Jamie Ness has these like really, really good numbers, but it doesn't. It was a horse earlier. Forget it. Anyway, he did set a perfect trip last time.
I
Sorry,
agree.
me.
I agree. And that's why he ran a big figure last time. And I'm wondering if he's really a horse you can rely on to run that kind of figure. And I wonder if he's just a little slower than 3 and 8 if they run their better races.
Yeah.
I think they're a little bit better
I know.
than him.
I know.
Nothing
like I said.
super strong. I'm going to hope that.
It's
and
those
I
three.
even feel also with Valenzen Day, you don't need a speed track. I think on a fair racetrack, he may have a tactical advantage here.
And two, I thought it was promising in his 2 races, his 2 recent races, where he didn't get the lead. He kind of even got shuffled back at some points and lost position and still kind of fought on. So
been in great
he's
form.
just in great form.
He's been in great form.
9 for 21. I mean, he's very rarely off the board.
Did you see, Digital Ops who beat Winter Weekends, did you see that Jeff Drown, who was a partner in him, when they had it, I guess the partner was selling or whatever, and it was in a dispersal. He bought him back for $400,000.
Digital ops.
Yeah, he ran second yesterday. And what race is he? He's a need to lead type horse that
Yeah.
at best runs 90 buyers.
Yeah,
It's already won his non-winners in
400,000?
one condition. What stake race is he going to win? It's a lot of money to spend for him.
That's a lot of money. Did you speaking of interesting sales, did you see that City Man was sold?
No, but I thought he retired. I thought he was going to stud in New York. Didn't you hear?
Stronach bought him, I believe, and gave him to Rob Atras and made him run him in an off the turf race at
Well, he has
Fairgrounds
some back.
yesterday.
He has some back dirt.
I know,
for him.
but on the like slop, like
Yeah,
really
it was
wet
quite
track.
a mess down there.
Yeah,
I guess he didn't run well. Oh, what,
I
what
know.
did he sell for?
I don't remember.
Oh,
I know.
that's odd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprised by some of the horses they get. I thought that Acacia had told us, or somebody, maybe it was not Acacia, maybe it was somebody else, said that he was going to be standing at studs.
No, I remember Acacia saying that, but then they sold him.
Okay. I did not see that, actually. It's hard to have seen the race at Fairgrounds. It was dark, right?
Fifth light, Sandy.
I know, but I wish they would run the bigger races a little bit
I
earlier
know.
on those
I
big
agree.
days. It just seems funny. And that race yesterday was not, I don't think we saw the Derby winner in yesterday's Lecomte.
They literally like doggy paddled home.
They were crawling. They went almost, they went almost 2 1/5 slower than Hit
Show.
Show.
And a maiden went 2/5 faster as well.
Really? Yeah, the buyers weren't out, but it's going
Yeah,
to be hard
no,
to
they
get that
weren't.
buyer above an 8, much above an 80.
Yeah.
Race number 7. So, I mean, one of the more interesting questions today is weigh the risks and what she does. And, you know, I've talked about this quite a bit in the last few days. Chad Brown's horses have not been running particularly well in New York lately. I mean, they've been underachieving. We've seen now. I mean,
Wow.
yesterday's
That
horse.
didn't even dawn on me, honestly.
Well, the numbers on his dirt numbers over the last
I
couple
agree.
months are like 4 for 40 something or
Yeah.
something. And I mean, obviously the horse yesterday was compromised by the racetrack, to be fair. But there have been quite a few that have, headline numbers ran terribly here.
She did.
There,
Bell's Beach
there have
didn't
been
run
quite
well.
a.
Yeah.
They've just not been running that well. Now, she's a funny horse because if she
Dolomite.
runs back to her last race, she's a mortal lock in this race. I mean, her last race was verging on stakes quality. It's funny because, Chad was talking about an interview with Grenig, and he had talked to me about this horse, saying she always worked well in the dirt, but he had his experience with Mendelssohn's where they were better turf horses,
And weirdly, he has better numbers
and-
going long on the dirt.
and
As a
yeah,
sire.
it's he, and then okay, we're gonna try her in the dirt, and then she caught that sloppy track and a race that collapsed on Derby weekend on Friday, and never in the dirt, and they finally ran her last time, and I mean she exploded, and she wasn't on the rail. She was out in the 2-path. I mean, I'm not saying she had a bad trip, but she wasn't carried by some bias. She absolutely exploded in there. And yes, obviously, with Sue Ellen Michigan in this race, and I'm telling you, she better run. I don't want to see this track fair after 2 races and suddenly she's scratched. That would not be right. She's running because she had said it to Dave Grenig that she was going to run the other one she expected. Now, they're both running. Obviously, Sue Ellen Michigan moves up on yesterday's racetrack, and that's why I have her in there. But I don't think Weather is supposed to be compromised. If she shows up with her last race, she's going to win. But
Of
you
course.
kind of want to see it to believe it. You kind of want
That's
to see
what
it
I
again.
said.
No, I
And
agree
she's
because
just
it's
gonna
such
be
a
so short.
Yep.
And like you said, we've seen a lot of these short price Chad Brown horses go up
They've
in
been losing.
flames.
They have not been winning lately.
And
it's unusual in that barn.
I took one of your pets. Sweetest
I've got her
Princess.
in there. I love her, and I mean, she had no
Totally
shot
against
last
the
time
track.
chasing wide on the gold rail.
I would venture to say she's one that now as a 5-year-old does need Lasix, gets to go back on that. And really her 2 races at this level for Nappy, Fernando Abreu, have been good enough for me.
I agree. I agree.
And she's not devoid of speed, so she should be there.
I agree.
If
No,
I get 12 to 1 on her,
I
which
think
she
you have
could,
to look at this race. Part of it is like, what do you do if you don't want to weigh the risk?
Right,
You throw her
exactly.
out and say, what would I do in the race? Now, you know I can't get away from Dennis Lauman, and I will say, to be fair, she got a silly ride last time. I mean, she was out in the middle of the racetrack. I think he wanted to be on the rail that day, and she never really had a chance. So she gets Christopher Elliott. I do think she can run. I think Sweetest Princess, I agree. If I make pick fives, I will have them as backups, both the 2 and 4 in there. And listen, I mean, if you have yesterday's track, it's
Sue Ellen
hard to
Michigan
ignore
is-
Sue Ellen Michigan
yeah.
completely because she is the speed.
Fast. Yeah. And she's been in good form. I mean, granted, against New York breds, this is a little bit of a tougher spot for her, but
She's got to get a mile, but if you have yesterday's track, to just ignore her would be ridiculous because she
Exactly.
is faster than these horses. You've got Corbet third.
I
You
don't
know, I
know.
bet her last time.
I was really concerned she was going to come back and bite me in that January 5th race because she was so disappointing, as we discussed in her December 1st effort. And she kind of loomed up, and I was like, oh, don't do it. And then she said, I'm good.
I used her in headline numbers in that race, and I was watching the race. I said, oh, well, headline numbers not winning. She's going to win, and she
Yep.
just stopped.
Just stopped.
I'm just not confident that she's that good.
No,
and
I
I
know.
think horses like the 2 and 4 are
I
much
know,
better.
I just couldn't warm up
alternatives.
to anybody else.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm very curious. I mean, obviously, you know, because of my relationship, obviously, with Seth, I'm hoping that she turns out to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
But today's a really interesting race for her because will she show today that last race was a fluke, or will she show that she deserves to step up for Stakes Company? And Chad was saying if she runs well today, he'll run her back in the Heavenly Prize.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see because this is a horse that, you know, and you probably remember, they thought this was their Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf horse. And she's been a massive
yeah.
disappointment.
That's
I
right.
don't learn those things. Jonathan seemed to know those things. I didn't have those conversations. But I know they love this
They
horse in the
did.
beginning.
And I remember I picked Ozara over her. And I was like, but then she would come back and win. But
Zara was actually good. She got hurt, right? She had been running well. I think she won a couple
yeah.
stakes down at Gulfstream and unfortunately got hurt.
exactly.
Race number 8. Race number 8 is this is a race where if the track is fair, I think Luke on Point's going to win. I know that he's been awful. This is some field. If there was ever a
true.
field crying out for a drop down like this,
But he does look so slow.
you know where his name comes from, right?
No.
You don't
I
know where his name comes from?
No, I'm not friends with Seth like you are.
No, it has nothing to do with Seth.
Well, then where does it come from?
It's Tony's son, Luca. This horse is named for Tony Alvado's son, Luca on
'cause
Point. He
he's a
plays
good
hockey.
hockey player.
And
He
we love
is.
Luca.
Yeah.
No, you didn't know this horse is named for Luca?
Oh my God, Andy, I can't keep abreast of all the horses' names
Well, when
and
I
where
talk
they come
about,
from.
you know what it is about this horse? I'm not sure I've been here when this horse ran.
Well, see, this is a
Oddly-
lesson on why you should never name horses after people.
I know. You know what? Luca's fine with it. He
I
is.
know,
He's
he's
happy
chill.
that the horse
He's the
got named
chillest
after him. Luca's
kid.
the best.
Yeah.
We love Luca. Yeah, no, this horse. I assumed at some point we had talked about this horse.
No.
So I definitely have a bit of affinity for this horse, and I know he's been bad, and maybe he just can't run. But man, has he found the right field? But on the other hand, on yesterday's racetrack, he has absolutely no chance, and that's why I put the 1 second. I think you put her on top because I mean we're never really running to endorse a horse that's 0 for 15, but isn't this horse the speed?
Clear.
Especially with limits of power
speed.
coming out.
Exactly.
This horse is supposed to control. You
I
can't
know.
leave this horse out.
You can't. And then, so there's active duty in here who consistently runs, races that would win this.
But he's slow.
He's so
I was going to put him
slow.
second, and I
He
changed
is
it because of his
such
running style.
A plotter, such a one-paced. I feel like he's better off running 1.5 miles than a mile.
We don't have a lot of 1.5 mile maiden races. How
He's a
many?
fully
How many do you
aware
think?
of that.
How many do you think we'd get for the 1.5 mile dirt maiden race, Maggie? I don't know. Some of these horses, maybe
Maybe
we should
two.
get like 20. We have 2 divisions. On yesterday's track, Luke on Point's not going to win.
Yeah.
On a fair racetrack, I think he's going to win. And listen, I'm going to admit I have a bit of a soft spot. This has nothing to do with rooting for Seth's horses. I'm rooting for Luca to win.
Yeah.
'Cause
Okay.
He's my
All
man.
right.
All right, we're done. You are just getting started. Chris Griffin's just getting started. Head on over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member, use the promo code SPA200 and we'll match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Check out track stats when you're over there as well. We have a $2,500 hit and split in the late pick 4. You'll want to opt in for that over at Naira Bets. We also have a cross country pick 5, 3 at Oaklawn, 2 here. And last but not least, America's Day at the Races, as of now, 3 to 6. Oaklawn is racing today, as far as we know.
It looks like it.
It's a little chilly there.
It's chilly, but the track looks to be in
Well, for people that
good
wonder
condition.
the situation at Oaklawn and why it matters that much, it's because the racetrack, and I know you know this, is in a state park. So they can't deal with the racetrack the same way.
Right.
They can't use chemicals in it. So when it gets cold, what are you going to do? You can't water the track if it's below zero.
Well,
it's just going to
exactly.
freeze. So it's a situation for them. It's not incompetence. It's not that they don't want to race. They obviously want to race, but they have situations there that's beyond their control. For
Yeah.
people that may not understand, it's not. Oaklawn is obviously trying to run, and they have canceled tomorrow. For those who don't know, they moved their card to Thursday, so we will have an America's Day at the Races Thursday from 3 to 6, and we'll be covering the card. And the card that was drawn for tomorrow is just being moved its entirety to Wednesday.
Whoop. Yep,
All right.
right over. Nice way to kick off the Southwest weekend.
Yeah. Oh, you're going?
Yes.
When are you going to be there?
Won't be there Thursday for racing.
They tried
but
to
Friday
make you
through
go there
Sunday.
a day
They
early,
did.
but you
They did, and I said,
cleverly
no, sorry.
You've been around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be here Thursday, and I'm going to Florida after that. But
Oh,
I
good
will
for
not
you.
I will not be going to the Pegasus.
Wait, to work or just for fun?
Fun,
Okay, good.
fun.
Good for you.
Yeah. Okay, we're done. Chris Griffin, he's up next. Have a great day.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.